Hey, Mark Haberstock here from Platinum Funnels, and today I want to go through my live webinar funnel that I built specifically for the Kartra platform. Now, this funnel is meant to be used with any webinar system that you want to use. So, of course, one of the most popular right now is Zoom because it's free, or at the paid level, it's very cheap. Google Hangouts, if you actually have a paid, dedicated webinar platform. Again, you can use this. It's very, very easy. All you need is the link to the webinar room or to whatever broadcast room you're gonna host it with. Okay, so let's start by walking through. As you see in front of you, this is the funnel flow. It consists of 3 pages, 3 email sequences with 11 emails in total. And we're just going to walk through how it works. So to start, you're going to have this 3-part email sequence. Again, everything can be customized. You can add emails, take them away. You don't even have to use the sequence if you don't want to. It's just there for you should you want to use it. And it gives you something to go off of. So you can use this for your own list. You can send it to JV partners or other affiliates to use. You can really use it however you'd want. So all you have to do to edit is, of course, pop in and you can edit the name, the title, and all of the different points that you need to edit are highlighted as well. Okay. Now, the only other thing that you'll have to keep in mind with this specific sequence is you'll want to pop down and change the date that the email is actually going to go out, because of course this email is set to go out the morning of the webinar. So you'll set that up for the morning of your webinar. You might even change it to go out the night before. Really, it's whatever you're most comfortable with, right? Personally, I like to send one out the morning of the webinar just to remind everybody and give them that quick refresher, right? So obviously, this email sequence is going to send people to the very first page in the funnel, which is the registration page. So again, a very simple design. Remember, you don't need too much stuff on this page. Some people fill their webinar pages with a ton of stuff, and sometimes that works for them. For me personally, I believe that a webinar registration page only needs to sell people on registering for the webinar. You only need as much information to sell them on that and no more. Okay. So of course, you're going to start off with your webinar title. You're going to replace this with your own. You're going to go down to edit the webinar button to, again, you can have it say whatever you want. You can change the colors, absolutely everything. But you'll definitely want to change the day and time that your webinar is starting. It's really important to have it on there. As you go down, it tells them what they're going to learn, a little brief introduction about yourself, and then another button down here. Now, the reason you see 2 buttons so close to each other is because obviously on a mobile screen, that's going to be stretched quite a bit further out, and you don't want to have them need to scroll all the way back up. Okay, so of course, when you press the button, nice, simple, clean pop-up form pops up. You can add fields, take away fields. You can customize this. You can have a quick questionnaire come out, really however you want. It's really, really easy to set up. Save my seat. And what that's going to do is 2 different things. Okay. Going back to the funnel map here. So the first thing it's going to do is, of course, move them through to the confirmation page, which we're going to take a look at in just a second. But it's also going to add a tag saying that they registered for the webinar, and it's going to add them to a list specific to that webinar. Now, when that tag is added, that's going to add them to a countdown sequence, of course. But before we look at that, let's take a quick look at the countdown page itself. So again, same sense, same theme as you see on the previous page. So of course we have a countdown timer counting down, and we actually have an automation that runs off of this countdown timer so that when that timer hits 0, anybody on this page or anybody going to this page after that time is going to be redirected. That's why you need your webinar room link. Okay, let's just, for example, say that you're using Zoom. You're going to paste your Zoom room link in there. And that way they're automatically going to be redirected when it hits 0. Now, of course, it says if you lose the page, no worries. Check your inbox for the email confirmation, as that's part of that follow-up sequence. Okay. Moving down, we have a free worksheet. This is just as an example, a nice clean button to download the worksheet. The reason I like to have a worksheet or some type of resource that they can consume on the registration page is because you've just built up all this excitement for the webinar. And if they've registered a day or more in advance, now they have to wait. So it's nice to give them something that's going to continue building that momentum. Okay. Anything that's relatable that you can give them. The best thing to use, if it makes sense for your webinar, is a worksheet that they can use to follow along with the webinar. Because again, they're going to go download that worksheet and they're going to take a look at it, and it's going to add excitement, and that's going to drastically improve. Every time I've tested this, it's drastically improved the numbers of people that actually show up for the webinar. Okay, because they have this resource, they have it in their hand, they're excited to fill it out and see how it's used, and they need to obviously attend the webinar in order to use that. Okay, So that's the main purpose there. If you don't have one, it's one click to delete this entire section. You don't have to worry about it. Okay. Then as you go down, people can obviously share, tweet, share on LinkedIn, and then you're all set there. Now, moving over to the countdown sequence. So of course, this countdown sequence, you're going to have to adjust the dates on all of these emails. Really easy to do, just takes a minute. And of course, you're going to have one that says, thanks for registering, points them back to that page, or you can give them the link to the webinar room in it. It's also going to mention the free resource on the countdown page to make sure that they go ahead and download that. Same thing on the one sent the day before, one sent an hour before the webinar, and then one again sent 20 minutes before the webinar, which of course is going to have that link, okay, for them to hop on. Now, after the webinar, you're going to have an email sequence that goes out. And these are for people who attended your webinar but didn't take the call to action afterwards. So didn't register for a consultation. They didn't sign up for your program. They didn't buy your product, okay? And you're going to send this sequence to those people. So all of these are going to have a call to action to buy your product, enroll in your service, or, you know, schedule a consultation. Whatever your call to action was on your webinar, these are going to reiterate that and give them the link. Starting from the second, third, and fourth, they're also going to have a link to the replay page. So let's take a look at that. Now, no matter what webinar system you use, whether it's Zoom or anything, you're going to get a recording afterwards of that webinar or of that session. And all you're going to have to do is come to this page here, and you can upload the video to any hosting platform, or you can upload it right inside your Kartra account. Paste the video in here, you know, link your call to action to your sales page or whatever page you want them to go to. And then this page is set. You can redirect people here to rewatch the webinar. There's certain parts of these emails in this email sequence that mentions, you know, instead of just watching this webinar, it mentions, hey, at this time, we actually talked about this. Click this link to see what we're talking about. And that just helps to increase engagement, okay? So again, this funnel is built specifically for Kartra. It can do everything you need to do in terms of marketing for your business. You can find this funnel available as just a one-click import. It imports the entire campaign, everything hooked up already into your Kartra account. So you can get a copy of this funnel for yourself in either the Kartra Marketplace, heading over to platinumfunnels.com, or click the link in the description.